Mr. Yerrall, if I can just first of all introduce you to the inquiry, please. You are George Yerrall, is that correct?
That is correct.
And thank you. And you're a director of River Oak Strategic Partners Limited, is that also correct?
I am a director of River Oak Strategic Partners Limited, yes.
And you have a BA in economics from Amherst, and you have an MBA from the Columbia University Graduate School of Business, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And if I can ask you, please, just to turn to your main proof of evidence, which is tab 1 in the inspector's bundle. And I'd like you, please, just to read out, if you would be so kind, please, paragraphs 1.2 and 1.3 of that main proof.
I have 35 years of experience as an investor. During my career, I've been responsible for sourcing, underwriting, and closing equity investments. All have involved the formation of special purpose entities with a purpose of adding value to assets. I have been involved in well over 50 transactions with total capitalization exceeding $3 billion.
Thank you. And do you confirm to the inquiry that the evidence you have prepared and provide for this appeal is true, and that the opinions that you have expressed in your evidence are indeed your true opinions?
I do, and they are my opinions.
Thank you. Well, can I then ask you, please, Mr. Yerrall, to take out your summary proof of evidence, so which you'll find in tab 5 of your documents. And if I could ask you, please, to first of all go to your section 2, where you tell the inquiry and the inspector a little bit more about River Oak Strategic Partners Limited. Can I ask you to read 2.1 down to 2.4, please?
River Oak Strategic Partners Limited is an independent special purpose UK entity that will make the application for the Development Consent Order, the DCO, to gain the necessary consents to return Manston to airport use. In addition to me, the directors of River Oak are Niall Lawler, Tony Freudman, Nick Rothwell, Rico Seitz, and Gerhard Häusler. Myself, Mr. Lawler, and Mr. Freudman are responsible for the daily operations of River Oak. Mr. Lawler has over 20 years of experience in fixed income securities, capital markets, and private equity, both on Wall Street and in boutique investment banks. He was integrally involved in the refinancing of Alliance Airport in Fort Worth, Texas, which is a large-scale aviation cargo and service hub that has no passenger business. Mr. Freudman has over 30 years of experience in the aviation and travel industry. In his former role as managing director of Manston Airport Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Plane Station Group PLC, he was responsible for overseeing the airport's conversion from an RAF base to a civilian operation after its acquisition in 1999 from the Ministry of Defense. Mr. Freudman was also responsible for the development of Manston's successful inbound perishable goods business from East Africa. He left the company in 2004 when a new group chief executive rescinded the previous emphasis on cargo and resolved to acquire a passenger airline, which was to be based at Manston. It was the losses sustained by that airline purchase plus losses in other group enterprises which led to the failure of the Plane Station Group in August of 2005.
Now, Mr. Yerrall, you deal a little bit more in your rebuttal evidence with the previous owner's activities in relation to the airport. And can I ask you please to go to your rebuttal document, and go in that to section 2, where you deal with the history of the site and your company's involvement in it. And can I ask you, first of all, to read out your comments in respect of Wiggins Group Plain Station at 2.2 through to 2.4, please.
At paragraph 2.4, small letter II, Mr. Alston refers to the owner of the airport going into administration in 2005. The Wiggins Group, which had acquired Manston in 1998 for £4.75 million, renamed itself Plain Station in 2004. As noted in paragraph 2.4 of my proof of evidence, Mr. Freudman, a director of River Road, previously worked as a managing director of Manston Airport Limited, a wholly owned subsidiary of Plain Station Group PLC. Wiggins had been a fully quoted company on the AIM market in London since 1993. In 1994, the renamed Plain Station took a stake in the Irish-registered startup airline EUJet on the condition that EUJet based most of its operations and its 5 leased Fokker 100 aircraft at Manston.
Just pausing there, Ms. Yerrall, you said 1994, did you mean 2004?
I'm sorry, in 2004.
Please continue, within months.
Within months, despite promising passenger numbers, Plain Station's CEO, Martin May, realized that, as with all startups, it could take up to 2 years for the airline to break even, and that a significant injection of capital would be needed to keep the airline going in the meantime. It is understood that Plain Station's leading shareholder, Prudential Assurance, was approached but declined to support a stock market share pricing to raise the necessary capital. An approach was then made to the company's bankers, Bank of Scotland, who declined to extend further credit, as Plain Station was near its borrowing limit, and instead put the entire Plain Station group into administration. Grant Thornton were appointed as administrators by the bank in July of 2005, and within 4 weeks they had sold Manston Airport for £17 million to Infratil, a publicly quoted New Zealand investment fund who already owned in whole or in part Prestwick Airport in Scotland, Lubeck Airport in Germany, and Wellington Airport in New Zealand. Passenger numbers for EUJet in its 10 months of trading were very strong. The problem was that Plain Station, as a group, simply did not have the capital necessary to support a startup airline to the point where it could begin to make money.
You then move on to deal with Infratel. Can I ask you please to read 2.5 down to 2.7?
During 2013, the advertised sale of Manston Airport in Kent and Prestwick Airport in Scotland came to the attention of Anne Globe, who is the owner of Stagecoach, based in Scotland, and through her companies now owns Manston. As I understand PwC's brief, it was to sell both Manston and Prestwick together as a package. The problem was that Prestwick Airport was never going to be financially viable, and therefore the offered package was not attractive, and in my view would have put off purchasers. However, according to written evidence submitted by Anne Globe's team to the Transport Select Committee in January of 2015, Prestwick Airport was the original purchase target, with Manston as the secondary target. However, a due diligence inquiry convinced Anne Globe that Prestwick presented too many obstacles to profitability. At that point, in early October 2013, with no takers for Prestwick and faced with the risk of the airport closing and the loss of the associated jobs at a time when the Scottish referendum was looming the following year, the Scottish government intervened and decided to take Prestwick into public ownership. Stagecoach had purchased Prestwick once before in 1998 for £41 million, invested £10 million in it, and then sold it to Infratil in 2001 for £26,000. 26 million, I'm sorry. With Prestwick no longer on the table, Ann Gloag and her team focused their attention on Manston alone, and a few days later, Infratil offered to sell Manston to Ann Gloag for £1 as long as Gloag would commit to a definitive purchase agreement by the end of October 2013. The sale price also included any ongoing airport operational costs prior to the transaction closing, but involved a total cancellation of all of Manston's accrued debts. The Gloag team quickly agreed and purchased the airport under two companies, Kent Airport Limited, the operating company, and Kent Facilities Limited, the owner of the airport real estate, in late November of 2013. The parent company, Manston Skyport Limited, was clearly so named to purposely imply that Manston would be retained as an operational airport. A joint press release was put out by the parties, including to the New Zealand Stock Exchange, with quotes from the CEO of Infratil and Ann Gloag, which were designed to reassure readers that Manston's future was secure in the hands of Ann Gloag. See Appendix A. In March of 2014, it was announced that the airport would be closed.
Now, just pausing there, Mr. Yerrall, can I ask you just to turn to Appendix A of your rebuttal evidence, please? Because this is the statement that is issued at the time that Manston Skyport purchased the airport from Infratil. And if we look down that statement that was issued, we can see that Ann Gloag said she was delighted to have purchased Manston Airport from Infratil, and as I believe there is a real potential for growth that has not been fully captured. In respect of the experts that are advising you, Mr. Yerrall, is there a real potential for growth that has not been fully captured?
Yes, I believe there is, as a cargo-based airport with other services, as has been outlined earlier.
And you can see, if we just look a bit further down that statement, that she then went on to say that having worked in the transport industry for over 30 years, I believe I'm very well placed to help maximise opportunities for both freight and passengers at Manston. Did she go on to maximise those opportunities, or what happened afterwards?
She operated the airport for approximately 3 months and announced that it would close. I'm not aware that any investment was made or planned in that time.
Thank you. So that leads me on to this question, please, Mr. Yerrall. In your view, in the light of all the information that you have in front of you and have researched, is it right to imply from the failure of Plain Station and Infratil, and indeed Manston Skyport, to operate a successful airport at Manston, that it is not possible to do so?
My assessment of the situation is that none of the prior owners put any real significant capital into the property, nor did they have a marketing team or a business plan that would allow for that non-invested capital, if it were ever invested, to bear fruit. So our plan, I believe, does all of those things and will make Manston a very successful operating airport.
Thank you for that, Mr. Yerrall. That brings us back to section 3 of your summary proof of evidence, please, on page 3, where you set out the Manston Airport and your vision and your proposals for investment in it. And can I ask you please to read out 3.1 down to 3.7?
It's widely agreed that there is scarcity of airport capacity in Southeast England, as documented in Dr. Dixon's proof. Try and say that 3 times fast. Most aviation observers have noted an acute current shortage of aviation cargo capacity in the Southeast, and that is evidenced by both the lack of desirable cargo landing slots as well as the increasing amount of cargo being trucked to and from the UK to Frankfurt, Schiphol, and de Gaulle, among others. These truck movements increase product costs, clog roadways, including the Channel Tunnel, and are less attractive and less efficient means of moving cargo. River Oak's analysis of the history of Manston's operating history revealed 2 main consistent themes. Past owners focused on making passenger traffic their main priority. And throughout Manston's private ownership history, the site has been deprived of the kind of capital investment required to successfully compete in the industry. Manston is ideally located to serve the London area as a cargo hub. It's 65 miles southeast of London with excellent road connections to and from London. Manston's not in the London airspace, and so it will not contribute to the congestion in the sky over London, while easily being able to serve as a reliever airport should the London system temporarily fail. Manston has close proximity to both the Channel Tunnel and the Port of Dover. Manston's runway is over 2,700 meters long and over 60 meters wide, and so it can accommodate any plane that is currently in use and any new planes currently being built. With a size of over 700 acres, Manston has the area needed to build out the required ground infrastructure to support a state-of-the-art cargo hub. There are no other airports that enjoy the combination of landmass, runway length, proximity to London, Dover, and the Channel Tunnel. It's widely known that Boeing, Gulfstream, Embraer, Bombardier, and Amazon are looking to establish servicing centers in Europe. Manston's attractive combination would make it an immediate consideration for these companies. There's also an emerging market opportunity at Manston in the field of aircraft recycling.
Thank you. And in your main proof of evidence at Appendix 3, if we can just turn to that now, please, Mr. Yerrall, you produce a financial analysis. And I think I'm right in saying if we look at paragraph 3 of that financial analysis, you have used the forecasts produced by Dr. Dixon in order to carry out that analysis. Is that correct?
Sorry, which tab are we on?
Appendix 3, oh, tab 4. Tab 4, yes, sir.
That is correct. The financial analysis has been prepared from the traffic forecast created by Dr. Dixon.
Can I just ask you very briefly, please, Mr. Yerrall, just to explain to the inspector what has been undertaken in your financial analysis and the conclusions that you derive as a result of it, please.
We took a range of anticipated capital expense investment in the property. We ran that against the movements that Dr. Dixon's forecast created. What it creates is what I would call a long-term J-curve, where cash is negative in the first couple of years due to the investment, and then slowly but steadily starts trending upward vertically and ultimately becomes like you would expect a long-term infrastructure investment to become, that yields somewhere between 7 and 9% on a cash-on-cash basis over a long time period. So this has all the makings of what I would consider to be a traditional infrastructure investment that's sound.
Thank you. And just to identify where the financial analysis contains the J-curve, if we can look please at page 10 of the analysis. And do we see that at figure 9? Is that?
The long-term J-curve is represented in both figure 9 but more accurately in figure 10, where the you see the vertical negative line in year 0 representing the investment, and then a bumpy but gradual steady rise forward on total cash over time. So that in year 30, the projection shows that net cash, which would include the original investment, is somewhere in the vicinity of 320 million pounds, cumulative basis.
And in looking at the return on that, you were saying, well, that's between 7 to 9%. Do we see that set out in tables 11 and 12 of the analysis?
Sorry, I didn't turn back off. Yes, that is what table 11 and 12 say, which is essentially using two different CapEx investment numbers, 287 million in the former and 215 million pounds of CapEx in the latter, that your base case trends between 7 and 9%, which is what you'd expect for an infrastructure investment, all cash.
And if we go to the last page of your financial assessment, you can see your conclusions, having carried out your financial assessment. And can I just ask you, please, to read out paragraph 33 of that conclusion?
Manston Airport, as a cargo airport with this scale of CapEx, generates an unleveraged annualized return between 7 and 9% over a 30-year period, making this a highly attractive infrastructure opportunity.
Thank you. And then if I can ask you, please, to go back to the summary evidence, and just quickly like you to deal, if you'd be so kind, please, section 4, the early efforts carried out by River Oak to develop the project,